Hi, everybody. It's Alicia, and welcome to this session of the Learning Tube. Today's session is going to be mind-blowing, groundbreaking GPT building with the one and only Sonya Hightower-Routt. Did I pronounce your last name right? You're the
Route.
Route.
Route. Yeah.
Sonya Hightower-Routt. I always just say Sonya Hightower. So Sonya
Right.
Hightower-Routt. So let me introduce her. Sonya is a veteran educator with over 25 years in the game. And thank you so much for being such a great teacher, Sonya, to the youth. We appreciate that. She's also a certified artificial intelligence coach and the creative force behind more than 600 custom GPTs. Listen, I don't know anyone who has built more GPTs than this woman. I don't even know how she keeps track of that, but I'm sure we'll find out today. Her mission is simple and powerful. It's to help everyday people turn big ideas into automated tools that keep working even when you're not. So she believes in making AI accessible, relatable, transformational, especially for educators, coaches, and purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Do we have any purpose-driven entrepreneurs here today? Let's give a high five for Sonya in the chat. Whether she's teaching in the classroom or training from the stage, Sonya shows up with heart, with humor, and a deep belief that with the right tools, we can all teach smarter, learn stronger, lead stronger, and rest easier. Her topic today is from thought to tool, how to build custom GPTs that work while you sleep. Introducing, drum roll, the one, the only, Sonya Hightower. Sonya, welcome today. Welcome, and thank you for
Thank
leading
you.
this amazing class. For real, I don't know anyone who's built more GPTs than you. So I'm
Thank
going to
you.
sit back, learn something, and I'm excited for you to lead us here today. Everybody say welcome to Sonya in the chat. Welcome to Sonya. And Sonya, drum roll, take it away.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello. I am so excited to be here. So glad to teach you guys about the thing that I could do in my sleep. I love creating GPTs. They are my life's blood. So without further ado, we're going to jump right on into this thing. I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. You're going to learn a lot today. You're going to learn a lot today about GPTs. Now, don't hesitate to ask questions. I don't have a problem with people asking questions. Please ask questions so that way I know that you are engaged. Okay. So today we're going to talk about, and let me go ahead and make this full screen so you can see all that nonsense up there. Okay. Today we're going to talk about from thought to tool, building GPTs that work while you sleep. Now, what I want you to understand is that GPTs, if built the correct way and if used the correct way, will streamline just about every part of your life that's possible. Okay. And today we're going to talk about how you can do that. All right. So who am I? My name is Sonya Hightower-Routt. I am a 25-year veteran teacher. I teach U.S. history here in Houston, Texas. I am a certified AI consultant and coach, thanks to Alicia, who is my inspiration. I love it to death. And I have built over 600 custom GPTs, and they range from everything from GPTs specifically for teachers, specifically for students, for business owners, for solopreneurs, and even some fun stuff. It'll even tell you where to go, the best place to travel, who to date, how to set your dating profile up, all that good stuff. It does all those different types of things. So the promise that I will make to you today is that you will leave here today at least with a roadmap on how to create GPTs that generate value 24/7. They work while you sleep, and they will help you scale your expertise. Because here's the thing, if you are an expert in anything whatsoever, you can create a GPT and monetize that. You can definitely create a GPT and monetize that. Okay. So let's talk about what a GPT actually is. All right. The technical term is it's a generative pre-trained transformer, right? But technically, well, non-technically, it's your assistant, right? It's that assistant that never calls in sick, never gets tired of you, always has something for you. And it always produces, right? So you can use your AI assistant and train it on your voice, your tone, and your expertise in order to deliver something valuable to your audience. Okay. You can do things like a course building assistant, creates your lesson plans. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. Creates lesson plans and materials automatically, right? An Instagram reel writer, right? And it can be faceless, right? How about creating a GPT that will help you create faceless Instagram reels, right? That you can do in minutes. You can sit down on a Sunday and in 30 minutes, you can have your entire month planned out, including hashtags, images, everything that you need, all from a single GPT. Okay. And you can also create a custom support buddy. It answers questions instantly. Those FAQs, those things that people ask you all the time, over and over and over and over again. What if you had a GPT that you could use, that you could create, where you could load up all of the information about your business and create your FAQs from there? You create those FAQs, and now you can put that on your website, on your Facebook page, wherever you are interacting with your audience, so that now you have a place where they can go and they don't necessarily have to ask you all those questions over and over and over again. Okay. All right. So let's talk about why GPTs that work while you sleep. Well, why not? I love to get rest and let it do all the work for me. All right. Number one, they can automate repetitive tasks. You can let AI handle that routine work while you focus on your high value activities. So let's say you're a business owner, right? You're a solopreneur, you're the only person in your business. And so you have to do the social media, you have to do your email list, you have to send out promotions and all that kind of stuff. Why not have a GPT that creates that stuff for you? You can schedule it when to drop and who to drop to. So now you can go and focus on those things, building relationships and those other things that make your business work. All right. Also, it can help you to capture leads 24/7. You can engage potential clients even outside business hours. Once that person has that GPT of yours, you can brand it at the end of the GPT, where they can always have a contact to get in touch with you. You can reference it back to your website. You can reference it back to an email for you, so that you can have that constant contact. Okay. And then it streamlines content creation. It saves time. Time is the one thing that we can't ever get back, and we spend a lot of. Right? So creating these custom GPTs will help you to streamline all of that content creation time. So you can get time back to travel, to spend time with your family, with your friends, or to get some rest. Because guess what? Rest isn't laziness. Rest is necessary. Believe me, it is necessary. Okay. So we're going to talk about a 5-step blueprint. Okay, if you got your pen and pencil, get your pen and pencil out, get your pad that you can write on, and we're going to walk through this 5-step blueprint. Even if you have built GPTs before, this blueprint will help you serve as a checklist for you to help you make sure that you are incorporating all of these things. Because here's the thing about a GPT, just like Chat GPT, period. Garbage in, garbage out. If you don't know specifically what it is that you want your GPT to do, then chances are it's not going to be a really good one. All right. The more specific you are with the task that you want a particular GPT to do, the better it is going to perform for your users. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 5-step blueprint. We're going to go through all 5, and then we'll go each one step by step so that you guys can understand it a little bit better. Okay. So first one, you need to identify the need. Find the right problem to solve. Because we can sit up and create GPTs all day long, but if they don't solve a problem for a person in need, then we just created a bunch of GPTs that nobody uses. Okay, so we want to make sure that we identify the need. Second, define the role. What is it that you want it to do? You need to create a clear persona and voice. What is it that the GPT needs to do for the user? I always tell people when I'm teaching them how to create GPTs, think with the transformation in mind. All right. When you are creating a GPT, what transformation should the person have once they finish working with your GPT? They started one way. What way, how should they end? And then understanding how they should end, you can build backwards, okay, to make sure that you have all of the steps in there necessary for this transformation to occur, right? The third thing is to gather training fuel. This one is most important. Making sure that you are giving the GPT, you are equipping it with the right information, the right training information, so that it can create a GPT that is useful and it is effective for your users. All right. The next thing is to build the conversation flow, design the intuitive user interactions. How is it going to interact with the user? Okay. And believe it or not, you can control it. It can be very strict and professional, or it can be relaxed and conversational. Okay. And then the one thing that you need to do, test, test, test. You need to test, refine, and then deploy. Always test your GPTs. Don't ever send a GPT out just straight off the rip. You just created it, bam, I'm going to put it out there for somebody to use. Test it over and over and over again to make sure that you understand, that you know how your GPT functions. And then I would suggest maybe even creating a focus group. If you create them like I do, I have a focus group. After I create a GPT, I send it to that focus group, and they have a checklist that they need to check to make sure that those GPTs are working in the way that it was designed. Okay, because testing is very, very, very important. You don't want to just throw something out there into the atmosphere. Okay, so I've talked about the blueprint, you guys. Let's go take a walk and see how we build these things. Step one, we are going to identify the need. Identify the need. Now, there are several ways that you can do this, but the main thing you need to understand when you're creating a GPT, and this is before you ever touch the computer, what problem is your GPT going to solve? Because if it's not solving a problem, then what's the point? Okay, we need to know what problem your GPT is going to solve, who your target user is, and is this a recurring need? All right, so when we talk about what problem does it solve, maybe you may not know what problems that you need to solve or in your particular area. Then you can create a poll for your audience. You can send out a poll and see what are some things that that they struggle with, and then you can build from there. Or there's another way that I'm going to show you on the next slide that you can get in and find out what the problem is and build from there. All right. The second thing, who is your target user? Who are you sending this for? Who are you creating this GPT for? Okay. You don't want to create a GPT for a person who needs an email list or needs help with some of the things with email and content creation, and then you send them a GPT where they're just creating images. All right. You need to make sure that you know for sure who your target audience is. And is this something that they're going to continuously need? Because you want your GPT to continuously feed the user. All right. So let's say a teacher needs an instant lesson plan, and they always do the instant lesson plans. Then you need to build your GPT according to that need. Or a blue collar business owner, excuse me, needs 24/7 FAQ help. I spoke to you earlier about how you can upload your information into that GPT and it will create the FAQs for you. Okay. So when we are identifying the need, one of the things that you can do is to poll your audience. Simply ask, what do they struggle with? If you have a Facebook group, or especially if you're in the workplace and you're building something in the workplace to make workflow a little bit easier, then you pretty much, if you're working in it, you may already know what the pain points are. But it is important for you to identify the pain points. Another thing that you can do to identify or even figure out what are the most commonly asked questions for a particular subject is to use answerthepublic.com. Okay, go to answerthepublic.com. Put in your content, maybe email marketing or marketing copy or AI in education. And it is going to give you a list of the most commonly asked questions pertaining to that particular industry. All right, then you can look at those questions and determine, I see this coming up a lot. You had 77% of the people asking this particular question. Let me create a GPT that solves that problem. And it's as simple as that. Identifying the need first so that you'll know who you are, know what you are creating the GPT to solve. Okay. You can check existing workflows, look for repetitive time-consuming tasks, right? Creating social media content. That is a time-consuming task. All right. You can build a GPT that makes that a whole lot easier. Okay. And then validate the value. Ensure that the GPT that you use, it's repeatable and it's valuable. That means that it's never anybody, whether there's someone who has used it for quite a while or someone that's just using it, that it is still valuable to them. Okay. You want to make sure that it is still valuable to them. The next thing we need to do is to define the role. Okay. Your GPT needs a persona. It needs to know what it's going to do. So for the one that I'm going to show you at the end, we'll talk about it. The name of it is, oh no, I switched it out, but EduBlueprint Custom Teacher Planner for Success. That's going to be the name. It needs a persona. The tone is going to be warm and supportive and professional. And its expertise is going to be an expert in curriculum and instructional design. So when you are creating your GPTs, you want to give it a persona. What is it going to do? Right? What is the tone? And what is its expertise? Because when you're creating these GPTs, you're creating many experts to go out and help people in their most needy time. Right? So you want to make sure that you are ensuring that it has a persona, it has a purpose. Okay. Now, when you are getting ready to define your persona, you can write a persona prompt, right? You are a curriculum coach. You help K through 12 teachers draft lessons quickly with engaging visuals and aligned objectives. Or you could say you are a master barber and barber instructor. You help new barbers learn how to become barber instructors with engaging lessons and help with the state assessment so that they can gain their license. Whatever it is, you guys can put it right in your persona, whatever it is that you need that GPT to do. All right. You want to make sure that you include specific responsibilities. Specificity is key. Okay. Specificity is key when you're creating these things. And there's so much fun when you get into them and you get relaxed in the process. It is so much fun. You'd be amazed at what you can create. All right. You want to make sure that you ask about, you create a specific expertise, that you define the voice and tone clearly. All right. You want to make sure that that's clear and that you set boundaries for what it can and cannot do. You want to always put a parameter around your GPT because you don't want it to go too far. Understand that the knowledge base for GPTs just in general is huge. So you want to make sure that you don't have your particular GPT pulling from all over the place. You want it pulling from a specific place. And we'll talk about that a little bit deeper in a few slides. Okay. Now, step 3. This to me is the most important step when you are creating your GPTs, and that is gathering your training fuel. You have a GPT that is going to have a certain persona, right? Like being a instructional coach, you're creating lessons for teachers, right? There is so much out there that ChatGPT could pull from and pull in that it may be too broad or too wide for you to get a specific use out of that GPT. So you want to make sure that you control the data that it is training on. All right. So if you want lesson plans, let's say we're going to go with that teacher thing because I'm a teacher. So we're going to go with the teacher thing. When I wanted to do lesson plans, I want to give examples of successful lesson plan formats. I want to give it rubrics and guides so they can see when I say I need you to create a rubric and a guide, it has something to pull from because there is a specific rubric and a specific guide that I wanted to pull from. Other than that, it can go pull any rubric or any guide from anywhere, and it may not fit the purpose of the GPT. So you want to make sure that you are focusing on that. You want to give sample conversations, give real classroom dialogue examples. Let's say I was creating a GPT helping teachers how to deal with difficult students or how to have difficult conversation with parents. I would definitely input some sample conversations in there so the GPT will know where I needed it to stay. Okay, I needed it to stay professional and only dealing with school and not maybe go into veer off into the personal realm. That's not what I want. So I want to train it so I can keep it right here in this box and it can do exactly what I need this particular GPT to do. And then style references, tone and style examples. If I was doing marketing, I might say, I want it in the tone and style of Tony Robbins. Or if I was doing motivational speaking, creating a GPT that creates motivational speaking topics or even motivational speaking scripts, I might say, I want it in the tone and voice of Les Brown. Okay, so you want to make sure that you put parameters, and this is where we are putting these parameters around our GPT to make sure that it is doing the specified job that we need it to do so that we can get that transformation at the end. All right, so gathering the training fuel. All right, so you can organize a folder, and I'll show you guys how I do all of that stuff a little bit later. Organize a folder. You can put in all those example lesson formats, those guidelines, anything that you have, keep it in a folder, and then you can upload that into the knowledge base of that particular GPT. And don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. Okay. All right, so we move to the next step, which is building the conversational flow, right? Are you going to have your GPT give a welcome at the beginning? All right. When it gives the welcome, then does it immediately establish its purpose or does it do something else? You get to guide exactly how this GPT delivers the message. Okay. You can let it gather key information because you're going to need that information. So you'll have a list of questions that you want the GPT to ask each user so that you are sure that you're getting the right information so that it can do what it needs to do for that person. You want it to deliver a plan. How do you want it to deliver it? Do you want to always be in PDF form? Do you want to just put it in Canvas? Do you want it just to list it within the GPT? Do you want to put it in Google Docs? Do you want it to be do you want it to go to Canva? Do you want it to go to Gamma? In this step 3 here, this is where you want to put all of that information when you're building your conversational flow. All right. This is how I want you to welcome them, establish a purpose, then gather the information that you need from the user, and then deliver the plan or deliver that information in this method. Okay. And then confirm satisfaction. Ask the user, are you satisfied? Is there anything else that I can help you with? I always make sure that the GPTs that I create at the very end, it gives a suggestion. And then it asks, is there anything else that I can help you with? Okay. So you want to make sure that when you're building that you add that information because a lot of people, like Alicia said earlier, a lot of people aren't even using ChatGPT. They aren't even really using GPTs. So when they get into, customized GPTs. So when they get into using your GPT, most people don't know what the next step would be, right? You're giving me a lesson plan. Okay, good. I got the lesson plan. But now the GPT says, okay, would you like a script to go along with that lesson plan so that you're more comfortable with delivering the lesson? Would you like assessments to go with that lesson? Would you like readings to go with that particular lesson? And if you want readings, do you want them on a certain, are your students above level, on level, or below level? So that then it can differentiate the lesson as it creates it for the teacher. A lot of people may not even know that they need that, but with the GPT suggesting it at the end, what it can do to further move them along, then it is so much better for the user. They get so much use out of it. And moreover than that, that gains loyalty for you because they begin to trust you and know that you know what you're doing. And so that means that they'll keep coming back to you. If you are using this to create monetary value, this is going to make sure that your customers, your users are satisfied. So therefore, I'm going to always come back to you because I know I've used it. So I know what you can do and I know what it's going to deliver for me. Okay. And that's the ultimate goal. If we're in business, right? That is our ultimate goal, to establish trust and loyalty with our audience. All right. So in building the conversation flow, Include handling for clarification requests. Make sure that your GPT asks the user, if it's not clear on what the user is asking, make sure that it asks for clarification. Follow-up questions. Follow-up questions actually help a whole lot when people are using GPTs because, again, they may not think of this particular thing. Oh, I didn't think of that. But okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then out of scope requests, make sure that your GPT, if you're talking about building a lesson plan, then that GPT is not going to go and start talking about the political climate, all right, unless that's woven into the lesson. So you want to make sure that you put those parameters there. All right. And so some example prompts is, do you want slides or do you want just text? Do you need assessment questions? And then when they go outside of the range, you'll say, well, that's outside my expertise, but I can refer you to whatever. I can refer you to the builder so that they can, you can further the conversation with them. There is no limit to what you can have your GPT do. There is absolutely no limit to what you can have your GPT do. All right. And then the last thing before we get into the fun part where I show you what all of this actually looks like inside of GPT is the test, refine, and deploy, right? You want to test. You want to test. Give it weird things to do to see how the GPT is going to react, right? And the reason why I say test your GPTs, number one, is to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do. But secondly, it is to protect you, especially if this is your business. Okay. If this is your business, you create a GPT, you send it out, you did not test it, it does not do what the user needs. All it takes really is one or two bad reviews to tank your business or to have you have to start all over again to build that trust with your audience all over again. So it's so easy to test your GPTs. Just run through your GPTs yourself. Or, like I have done, create a focus group and have a checklist for that focus group to go down and check and make sure that the GPTs hit all of the mark so that when you send it out, you can send it out with confidence. All right. You want to make sure that the consistent tone is maintained, that it fits the key objectives, that it avoids hallucinations. And that means it doesn't go all off track, that it stays on track, and that it provides actionable content for your user. Okay. So now, are you guys ready to get into some fun? You ready to see what all this stuff actually looks like? If you guys are ready to see what this looks like, tell me in the chat. Say, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready to see what it looks like. All right, we're going to go into ChatGPT. I'm going to pull up the one. Actually, I just built this GPT this morning, right? So we're going to go through the History Spark Elite Edition. Okay, this is the Spark Curiosity with dynamic differentiated 8th grade U.S. history activities. Now, let me tell you the purpose, because remember I told you that your GPT always has to have a purpose. And I'm talking transparency, real time. All right. In the school district that I am in, we have 45-minute social studies classes. I'm a social studies teacher, right? We have 45-minute social studies classes. This year, we're moving to 90-minute social studies classes. Now, I know from just being around some of my colleagues that the 45 minutes was giving them a challenge, right? Creating a lesson to keep the kids engaged for 45 minutes. But now the district is moving to 90 minutes. So now you have more time that you have to keep these kids engaged, sometimes in a subject that they don't really care for. Right. So I know when they gave us that information at the end of the year, we had some of my colleagues were in a tizzy. What am I going to do in history for 90 minutes? What am I going to do? So I was like, okay, here's the thing. Let me help them out. Let me work on a GPT that will create 90-minute lessons in short spurts to keep the kids engaged. It will have differentiated lessons in there. It will have assessments in there, and it will have teach like a champion. That's what we use in our district, TLAC strategies. It will have the teacher teach like a champion strategies embedded. So this is the only place that the teacher has to go to so that they know all of the information, and it's going to create those 90-minute lessons. Okay, well, Sonya, how did you do that? I'm going to show you what I never show anybody. But because it's you guys and I'm here, and I'm excited to be here. I'm going to show you, if I can get this thing to move out of the way for me real quick. I'm going to show you my back office, so to speak. Okay, I'm going to show you my back office. We're going to go into edit the GPT. Now, when I create GPTs, I create them in the configure side as opposed to the create side. I create in the configure side because it gives me a little bit more control, okay, as to what exactly I want in there. All right, I can be as specific and I can go into more specific detail as I want, get all of the things that I need in the configure side. All right, so just like the create side, it asks you to name it and to give it a description. You know, when you're over in the create side, when you're starting brand new and you're in the create side, it kind of helps you walk through this process. Okay. So the biggest deal is right here. And we're going to talk about all of those different steps that we talked about in that blueprint. All right. So the first step is to identify the need. I've identified the need already, right? I told you I created this for teachers moving from the 90-minute blocks. Moving from 45-minute blocks to now 90-minute blocks. So I have put that in here and I have identified the role of the GPT. I need you to act as an expert in 8th grade U.S. history curriculum, curriculum design, TEKS alignment. That's our standards that we use here in Texas. Instructional coaching, classroom behavior strategy, and educational psychology. You are a master level tool for teachers in the Aldine Independent School District, creating 90-minute block lessons. You guide educators through a structured, responsive system that builds full units, differentiates for every learner, anticipates behavioral needs, aligns to standards, embeds assessment strategy, and supports ongoing coaching. I've identified what you are and what I need you to do. Okay. And in my instructions, the step-by-step instructions, for this particular one, I have created a passcode. For this GPT, you cannot start this GPT if you do not have the passcode. I'll show you guys how to do that. It's really simple. It took me forever to figure it out. And when I figured it out, I was like, duh. But you can put a passcode on your GPTs where if the user does not have that passcode, let's say by some kind of way, by hook or crook, they got your link, right? But if they don't have the passcode, all they have is the link and the GPT will go no further until they put in the passcode. Okay. So I ask it to put a passcode gate there for me. I put in here the code 1234 to begin. I can go back at any time and edit my GPT and change that passcode. I can change that passcode at any time. So if someone got their hands on this GPT, I did not want them to have their hands on that GPT or somebody, gave it away, then I could easily go in and change the passcode because without the code, they cannot get in it. That's one way that you can protect your GPTs. Okay. Then I walk through the whole flow. We talked about flow and everything, getting all of those things in here step by step. Build your student snapshot. Okay. Wait for the input before moving forward. When you are creating your GPTs, and I'll show you guys how, I'll give you guys a framework. I'll make sure that I get it to Adrian so you guys can have a framework. When you're building your GPTs, it is important that when you have your GPT asking questions, that you instruct your GPT to ask no more than 2 questions at a time and not to move until the user responds, because that keeps the user engaged and it doesn't overwhelm them with like 10 to 12 questions that they got to answer at one time. Then they can get confused and they go back and did I answer number 2 or did I answer number 5? So just leave it to where ask no more than 2 questions at a time and then don't move forward until the user responds. When the user responds, then it goes to the next step. Okay. All right. I also put in here that it could provide clear reminders, like you can skip this step or go back to step 1 at any time. It includes progress markers and it allows for backtracking. Okay. So this is basically, it does the planning modes. It gives an audience snapshot builder to build it for the students. Are they special ed 504 focus classes? Are these mixed readiness classrooms? Like you have some high level, some mid level, some low level kids in the classroom. Is this a Is this a GT class? Is it gifted and talented? Because the lesson will change according to what it is. Or do you have a class of urban diverse learners? Inner city schools, inner city youth, your Title I students. Sometimes your Title I students are different. They're just a little bit different with your other students, especially in like your Montessori schools or the private schools where they have certain things where before they can even get into the school. So you need to make sure that you are identifying where you are. The GPT will perform at whatever level, but you need to make sure that you identify where you are. So if there are certain levels when you are building a GPT and there are certain levels, you want to make sure that your GPT can meet your user wherever they are. It should be able to meet the user from whatever level they come in at. Okay. It also differentiated. These are all the things that I put in so that you can see what it does. I'm not going to go through step by step because it's going to take up too much time. Okay. But you can see how it works step by step. Okay. It also in here, I asked for level reading assessments, auto-generated reading. So it gives me all different types of assessments that I can use because we use different types of assessments. So when you're building the lesson, then when the kids are utilizing it every day, give them mixed assessments so that when they get to the big test, it won't be such a big deal. Okay. Now, this is walking in these system instructions, right? Getting your system instructions, telling you how you want it to interact with the user. One of the main things that I want to talk to you guys about, remember I told you the biggest thing, that step 3, gathering your
If you
training
want to listen
materials.
to this, it's talking about how to set up lesson plans.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you could hear me. Sorry.
Unmute, Sonya.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Okay, good. All right. So in the knowledge section, this is one of the biggest differences between your create section and your knowledge section. And your configure section. Here, I can upload all of the knowledge that I want my GPT to be trained on, right? All of the things. Remember when I told you when you, if you were building a GPT with all of your, maybe your SOPs, right? Or the most commonly asked questions. Then you can upload those most commonly asked questions and the answers right into the GPT so that it already has that information and it can answer for you as opposed to you having to answer all the time. So when creating something like the History Spark Elite Edition, there are several things that I needed to put in here to train the GPT on. I want to keep those parameters. I've already noted inside the system instructions that it was to build 90-minute lessons. I also told it the specific school district that it was working with, right? Then the additional information that I wanted to give it was the Teach Easy framework, my Teach Tech Transform framework, 10-minute trainer. Here, this is one of the biggest things. Our U.S. History 8th grade field guide. I wanted to upload that field guide in here so that they would be able to understand where the information came from, right? The GPT will understand that the kids struggle with knowing the difference between representative government or knowing the difference between the 7 principles of government and the Bill of Rights. Because in the U.S. History 8th grade field guide, it states that the kids have a problem differentiating the two. So as the GPT is creating for the teachers, it has that knowledge in mind. So when it's creating, it creates a lesson that has that information. So the lesson is well balanced. Okay. Now I'm talking to you from a teacher standpoint because that's where I am, but you definitely can do this from a business standpoint as well. You will be able to do this from a business standpoint as well. I also included the instructional playlist and things of that nature. I'm going to move down a little further here. Now, this is something new that ChatGPT just added, I think maybe a week or so ago. And it is, you have the ability to check the model that you want the GPT to be created in. Okay. By default, it's already going to be in the 4.0 model. right? It's already going to be in the 4.0 model by default, but you can go in and change this if you want to. That is completely and totally up to you. As it stands right now, I've not found a reason to change it, to go in and change anything, because the 4.0 model works perfectly well for me. But if you wanted to change the model, you would be able to do so. But here in the capabilities, by default, web search, Canvas, and the 4.0 image generation are automatically going to be checked by default. Okay. I always check my code interpreter and my data analysis button. Why? Because if I want to connect with anything outside of ChatGPT, then this allows me to be able to pull in that information from somewhere else. So I always check my code interpreter and data analysis. Now, a while back, I would not have checked that, because if you checked it before they changed the way that they did things, it would give an individual, they could go in and get your information about how you built your GPT. They have since upgraded and changed that. So now the code interpreter just helps you to analyze data a little bit better so that your GPT works a little bit more efficiently. Okay. All right. So in my configure, I always put my name, the description of what it does. Here are my system instructions. Okay. And don't worry. If you say, Sonya, I don't have system instructions, what do? I'm going to show you how to get those system instructions in just 1 second. Okay. You have your system instructions, your conversation starters. We'll talk about conversation starters in a minute. I don't generally use conversation starters. I use Let's Begin, and it does the same thing for me. But there are people who like to use conversation starters. It is completely a personal preference. And then your knowledge. So we're going to move over. I'm going to come out of this for just 1 second. I'll show you guys how that works in a minute. Well, I guess I should do that now, right? Show you guys how that works, but it goes a little into too much detail. We'll do a couple of them and then I'll switch over, because I really want to show you guys how you can find your own training information and how you can get your own system instructions from a thought. Okay. So we'll view the GPT. We'll hit Let's Begin. Okay. Now remember that it has to have that they have to have that passcode to get in. You could take that passcode off. I left this here just for going through this with you guys, but you definitely would put the passcode in the system instructions, but you would not let the GPT identify the passcode. Okay, you would write it in there, but you would tell it, do not show the passcode. All right. Access granted, and now you're ready to go. So now I'm right into this GPT, and it starts with 1 of 8. That lets your user know that there's 8 steps that we're going to go through, starting with the planning and coming out with a lesson at the very end. Okay. So I'm only going to do like 1 or 2 of these for time's sake. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll do 1 or 2 just so that you can see how it works with the system instructions and how they were given. All right. So I want to do a quick spark. Let's do that. A quick spark, right quick. So I would just simply copy and paste it. Or you could put number 1, 2, or 3. It's completely and totally up to you. So it asked me to build my student snapshot, describe my class. I could describe it myself, or I could choose a starter profile, right? So I'm going to say number 2, that it is a mixed readiness classroom. Okay, so it gives me these things. Would you like to customize this further, or should we move to step 3 to pick your topic? Okay, so I can move to step 3. Okay, so now it asks me now to select whatever it is that I want to use. I'll use number 3 to start to build real fast. And then I'm going to show you guys how you can get your very own system instructions. Now, what I do want you to notice is here, these are the actual teaks that we have to cover in as an 8th grade teacher here in Houston. So these are the actual TEKs. That's why I say you want to make sure that you build your GPT very, very specific, because the more specific it is, the better help that it will give to your user. Okay. So I'll say choose for me. We'll do a quick case study, and then we'll see what that comes up with, and then we'll go, we'll move on to, so I can show you the other part. Artifact mystery. Let's do number 4. Let it come up with a quick lesson for us. I want a quick write. So now here it is. Would you like to receive this ready-to-use mini lesson in an in-chat display, in a Google Doc, in a printable PDF, or in Google Slides for class presentation? So I'm just going to say, give it to me in a PDF. Then what it will do is it will generate the PDF. So you can create that information, and so you can write that into your system instructions that you want it to give the different outputs. You want it to give the different outputs. So now I can click on that, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then I'll show you how you can create your own. Let's see. Come out of here. Okay, so here's my Federalist and Anti-Federalist. Uh-oh, it was an error. Okay, let's go back. It would do this right today when I'm trying to show you guys something, and it's still giving me an error. So I have to reload that and figure out what's going on.
Hi, Sonia. You might just have
Uh-huh.
to come back. You might just have to come back for a part 2. This is so good.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, let me hurry up and show them. Do I have time to show them how they can gain their system instructions?
One more.
One more. All right, here we go. So real simple, really, really simple prompt. I want to create a GPT, a custom GPT that will create social media captions or so. Wait, let me start over. I want to create a custom GPT that will help users create social media content for their industry. And it's as simple as that, you guys. And then it's going to ask you questions, and it will help you to come up with your name suggestion, the role of the GPT, your capabilities, and all things here. And then here are your system instructions. It helps you write your system instructions. You will simply just need to copy and paste. But I've run out of time, you guys. I get so excited doing this. I get so excited that I could go deeper. I could do this all day. So I'm glad Dadrian stopped me, because I could go on and on and on. Okay, Anna had a question. Do we have time for questions, Dadrian?
And we have Anna Marie asking how to share the GPT with others.
Okay, how do you share how do you share GPTs? Okay. Let me share my screen again so I can show you quickly. When
And,
you are in,
and while you're there, another question, how can you monetize? Those are the 2 questions we have time for.
okay, real quick. When I am here for my, let me start here, new chat. When you create your GPT, let me go into the edit so I can show you how you do it. When you create your GPT here, let's say you've gotten all your information there, you want to hit the share button here. Now, then you get to decide if you are the only one that has access to the GPT, anyone with the link. Now, by default, it's going to check anyone with the link. Okay. Or you can click for it to go into the GPT store. Now, once you decide that you want to do anyone with the link, it is now your GPT. Let me update this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, view the GPT. You can always go right here to your drop down, right next to the name, copy the link, and then you can share that way. You can copy that link. Now, if you want to know how to monetize, just simply ask. What are the best ways to monetize you? Here are the best ways to monetize. So inside of the GPT, once you create your GPT, then simply ask your GPT, how can I monetize you? Here it's telling me I can offer premium planning services to teachers or schools. I could develop and sell digital products. I can launch micro PD or on-demand courses. I can host paid workshops or retreats, start a coaching business, so on and so forth. And then it asks you, would you like help branding any of these into products and packages? Let's just do let's do a quick one real quick because it's time for us to go. Let's do number 3. And then your GPT will tell you how to sell it. It'll tell you exactly how to sell it. So now it's telling me what I could do here. And this is pretty cool. I'm probably going to use this too because I hadn't even asked that yet. But you definitely can go through. It tells you how to break down your modules. It tells you about a toolkit that you can build. It gives you your monetization strategies and tells you how much you should charge. So it is well-rounded. Then it continues to ask, do you want a sales page, landing copy, a slide deck, an email funnel to launch it? You get to pick where you want to go. So these things, once you start to create these customized GPTs, if you create them the right way, if you follow that framework, that blueprint that I gave you, you guys, there is no limit to where you can go. There's no limit to where you can go. Is that my time, Dadrian?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay.
That was so great. Persons are already in the chat asking for the next session. When's the next session?
Okay.
When's the next session? So you have no choice, Sonya. You have to come
I have
back.
no choice. I am so ready. I can do this all day, y'all. I can
Thank
do it. As a matter of fact, I
you.
usually do.
It was very informative. And one more thing, everybody, we have a AI Marketing Summit coming up tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. EST. I'm dropping the link in the chat. Please register, show up. Alicia will be presenting, as well as I've gone ahead and put Sonia's freebie in the chat as well. So go ahead and grab that GPT. Thank you so much, Sonia. Very informative session as usual. You're a great teacher. Thank you so much. And we look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you again, maybe next month or whenever your calendar is clear.
Okay.
All
I
right,
will do it.
perfect. Thank you, everybody, for being here. See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.